Hi everyone, we're getting ready to start our gentle class for today. Welcome. So glad that you decided to join. So some of my regular students will recognize our bolster ramp. Those who might be new to our studio or new to yoga or just new to my class, this might be a whole new thing. So the way that we set this up, if you choose to do so, if you have blocks at home, you can start there. The back block is going to go mid-height. The front block is going to go low height. And then your bolster will just lay back on it in a gentle ramp. If you don't have a bolster, which is very common, don't worry about it, you can use blankets that are folded up. You can use a couple pillows or a good thick pillow, and it just lays back towards the back edge of the bolster. A couple other things we use what I call the toy box in this class, so we use almost everything. So you're going to want to have a couple blankets handy. We use neck pillows at the studio. Of course, not everybody has these laying around the house. So you can use a rolled up towel. You can use, if you happen to have any of those round pillows that go on bed sometimes, the circumference is approximately 5 inches and it's going to seat under the cervical neck. So anything that you can use to lay back on the bolster and place that under your neck for comfort. I just got these at my home studio. So what we've been using for a very long time is just a folded up blanket, and that would seat under the back of the neck once we roll down. So it can just be set up on the back of the bolster. You just want to make sure that something is behind your neck so that you have a little bit of support once you come back and down, so you don't have that gap between your neck and the bolster, if at all possible. We also use straps in this class. They're just a simple cotton strap. So you can get industrious around the house. You do not have to have the strap. You can just follow through with the rhythm when we get to that stretch. You just follow the movement. You don't have to have the strap. Or you can use a belt. You can use a shoelace. You can use an old pair of stockings. You can use a pair of leggings. Just something, on leggings, the grip might be a little bit wider in the hand. But other than that, just something that you'll be able to grip and move with. It'll all be cued. In my classes, I verbally cue consistently through the class. Many of my regular students know that they just close their eyes and follow along. If you do look over at your camera, keep all of your movements gentle, keep your eyes soft, keep your gaze soft. Everything about this class is about calm, breath with movement, coming into that space, working on that more meditative movement space, and stretching the body out. So with that being said, we'll get started. Feel free. The beauty of working from home is that you're able to pause. You can do part of a class. You can do the whole class. You can do half the class. You have a lot of flexibility with what you can do while we work on getting your body flexible. So from here, we're going to go ahead and get started. So once you have your little ramp set up, if you choose to use one, you can also work flat on the mat if that's comfortable for you. There's no problem with that. Everything can be done flat on the mat. Feel free to use props under the knees if you choose. I've been having a little bit of tenderness in my low back lately. So we will cue this later also, or we will be using this later and I'll cue it, but I tend to roll up a little hot dog blanket, set it under the backs of the knees, and once you lay back, it helps keep that out of the low back and hips. If you are going to work with a strap, it's nice to keep it handy where it's not too far off from your dominant hand, so that when it's time, you'll gently be able to reach out and grab it and not have to look around too much. Keeping things as gentle as possible. I invite you to keep your space as calm as you can. Of course, we have life and kids are home from school. There's a lot going on. So you just work with your space. The last thing we need to do is stress out about anything right now. This is about bringing the stress down. So you can choose to work with the lights on, dim, lowered. In this class, I'm not going to dim the lights when we get to Shavasana simply because I think it'll be easier for you to see what's happening. But you're free to dim the lights when we get closer to the cool down, or you can work with dim lights the whole time. Candlelight is wonderful. Today is the spring equinox, so happy spring equinox and welcome to spring. So as we get ready to go here, I've got all my toys around me, all ready for later. Coming to any comfortable position with the legs for the moment. Make sure your hips are touching your bolster and slowly roll your spine back down the bolster, feeling fully supported. Take whatever you're going to use underneath of your neck, a pillow, towels, a folded blanket. Make sure that's seated underneath of the neck. Begin to find some comfort, laying the arms down, moving props around as needed, finding comfort through the legs first. The legs can be out long, with or without a blanket. If you'd like to start hip opening right out of the gate, you can bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall wide, once again, on or off the blanket. Upside down V with the arms and the backs of the hands resting to the mat with the palms facing the ceiling begins to allow the shoulders to open. If that's not comfortable, if that feels pinchy or stressful in the shoulders for any reason, you can flip the palms down to the mat. Regardless of the hand position, let the elbows feel heavy. Begin to soften through the body and begin to find your breath. Bringing your inhales all the way down into your belly as you breathe in. And then a very slight contraction in the belly, nothing aggressive, just a gentle press to press it all out from the belly up through the lungs. Beginning to set up a smooth flow of breath. Beginning to lengthen and deepen your inhales and your exhales. Finding that smooth, steady flow for yourself. Bringing all your awareness to you and your space on your mat. Your body supported and your breath flowing smooth and deep, slow and controlled. As you begin to find that smooth, steady flow of breath, begin to take a bit of your awareness down to your toes and begin to scan up the body, releasing additional tensions that you might be holding as you exhale. Checking in with the toes. Are they holding any clench? Are the ankles contracted or the arches flexed? Let that soften down on those exhales. Many times when we come into a space of comfort, we find once we bring awareness to the body, there's still small places that we're holding that we don't even realize. So softening up through the legs, the hips. The belly will continue to rise and fall with the inhales and the exhales. But allowing the sides of the body to feel soft. The backs of the shoulders really connect back and down to the bolster. It's a very subtle movement, but we pull into the fronts of our shoulders a lot of the time. So this is laying the backs of those shoulders back to the bolster. Let the bolster support you, or the pillow or blanket or mat. Feeling broad across the chest and collarbones. The elbows feel heavy. Backs of the hands or palms sink into the mat. The neck is supported. Your pillow or blanket, towels, whatever prop you've decided to use. Head is resting, face is relaxing. Jaw is released, soft between the eyes, across the forehead. Letting the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. And breathe. Just full, slow, deep, belly-filling breaths. And that very slight contraction to press it out. Taking a few more breath cycles in stillness. Feeling this this soft, supported place that you've created for yourself. Remembering what this feels like in the time ahead to come, when you have those moments of tension, looking for a release in a soft place. Bring yourself back to this space. Find your breath, soften your body, feeling supported, and breathe. One more breath in stillness before we begin to add our breath with movement. Very gently taking the arms out to the sides, moving any props out of the way, taking the arms out to a wide T position, backs of the hands to the mat. And if your wide T feels more like an upside down wide Y, that's fine. Just find comfort and expansion across your chest. The backs of the hands down, palms face the ceiling. As you're ready, begin to inhale, reaching out and up. Fingertips touch over the chest area. And then exhale, float it back down, leading with the backs of the hands. Maybe the fingertips touch back down. Hands on your shoulders, finding your flow. Inhales, reaching up. Exhales, floating down. Slow and controlled, as if you were moving through honey. The inhales bring you up. The exhales float you down. Complete the cycle that you're in, and then 3 more full cycles. Inhaling and reaching. Exhaling, floating down, opening the chest wide, beginning to stretch across the front of the shoulders. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Taking your time, moving with the breath, using the full inhale to come up and the full exhale to float down. When you come to the end of your 3rd cycle, taking your time to get there, let the backs of the hands sink down to the mat. Adjust the arms or shoulders if needed. Let the elbows feel heavy. Let the backs of the shoulders settle back down to that bolster, taking a few breaths in stillness before we move on. Returning that breath, the inhale into the belly, if your breath shifted with the movement, and that slight contraction on the exhale. One more breath here. Releasing the arms down to the sides, flip the palms down to the mat. The hands are going to be resting gently outside the hip area. Changing our movement slightly, inhaling forward and up. Opening back any amount at the top of your inhale. And then exhale, floating the palms back down to the mat. Finding your flow in this direction. Inhaling up and back. Exhaling, floating it back down. Setting up that flow. Full inhale, use the inhale to come up. And then that full exhale to float down. Complete the cycle that you're in, and then 3 more full cycles flowing with your breath. Inhaling, feeling the belly rise. Exhaling, slight contraction, pressing it out. Taking that bit of awareness to when you're opening up and back. Are you deepening, going further each time? Or is there some tenderness in the shoulders? Maybe there's some tightness. And that you need to honor that space. Maybe you have to stop a little bit sooner. Maybe your movement ends about here or even before. There is no right or wrong when it comes to these movements. Never moving to the point of pain. You should feel like good stretches, mobility through the joints. slow and controlled. When you come to the close of your third cycle, taking your time, let your palms rest back to the mat. Let your elbows drop and feel heavy. Soften through your wrists. Take your breaths in stillness before we move on. One more breath. Taking a little check-in with the lower body, making sure you still have comfort there. If you're comfortable in your position, maintain it. If you're starting to feel a little tension through anywhere or want to add something different, feel free to move your legs and find comfort. Add any little wiggles or adjustments. We'll head into our next movement. Inhaling the arms up to chest height. Exhale, bend the elbows, release the hands and wrists back behind. Gently grasp the fingertips. Lift the head just enough to lay the hands under the head. Let the head settle back to hold the fingers in the hands. Let the elbows fall wide. This is a stationary stretch across the front of the chest and shoulders, letting the head hold the hands. Find your breath. If for any reason this is feeling pinchy or uncomfortable in the shoulders, feel free to take the modification. You'll release your fingers, lay your arms back out to that wide T position. Find a comfortable space. Soften through the elbows, stretching through the front of the chest and the shoulders in that modified position. It's your choice, your practice, what feels good in your body today. Flowing that breath, maybe checking in down at the toes. We begin to find when we look at our body with awareness, many times when we move the upper body, the lower body wants to help, and vice versa. So check the toes, make sure they haven't bound up when your arms are moving, or the arches might be flexed. Soften the feet back down. One more breath here. Releasing the fingers from beneath the head, drawing the elbows towards the ceiling, letting the palms rest back to the bolster or pillow. We're going to move into our tricep stretch. So from here, starting on the right side, right palm lays against the bolster or pillow, right fingertips point to the floor, right elbow points up to the ceiling. Reach the left hand across, grasp that right elbow. Your left forearm is going to be laying above the top of your head or possibly across your forehead. As you're ready, take an inhale, and then exhale, drawing that right elbow towards the head and then back down towards the bolster to find your tricep stretch. If you have chosen to work flat on the mat, this can be one of the trickier in this particular practice without the ramp. So you can take a few different choices in modification. Depending on the openness in your shoulder, you can lay your arm back behind you, flipping your palm down, finding a stretch from there. You can gently wrap both the arms around the head, just letting everything open up and back. If that's not comfortable, it's a little bit more of a shoulder modification. You can lay the arm across the front, giving a little pull to the back under the tricep. So if you're working flat on the mat without the bolster ramp, giving you this little bit of distance away to work with, you can modify around, just finding a gentle stretch in your tricep, or as I said, if this feels comfortable, you can just lay in this position with your arms supported by the floor behind your head, possibly moving towards the elbows to get into the triceps, and breathe. One more breath for those on the bolster working the right side. Gently release that grip with the left hand. Let that left palm float to the bolster. Fingers point down to the mat. Left elbow points to the ceiling. Switching your grip. Take the right hand across. Grasp that left elbow. Take an inhale when you're ready. And exhale, draw that left elbow towards the head and then back down towards the bolster. Finding your stretch. Letting that grip hold both arms. Finding some softness through the back of the neck. On your exhale, softening back of the shoulders. You can really let the neck and shoulders go, be supported here, and just let that stretch be up in the tricep. Or if you're in the laid back position, if you've taken the position of holding opposite elbows, you can switch the grip, take the other one on top and lay them back again. Just find some comfort and some stretch. One more breath. Release the grip of the right hand, let it float back to the bolster. Inhale the elbows up to chest height. We're going to come out slow. Exhale, then unhinge. Float those palms back down to the mat. Let the palms rest, elbows drop, shoulders soften. Feeling that blood flow down the arms. If you have a little tingling in the fingertips and you'd like to add a very gentle, controlled drumming of your fingers, you can lift your fingers and then gently lower the pinkies, the ring finger, middle finger, forefinger. Just working through 1 or 2 cycles. If you do choose that option, when you've completed a cycle or 2, lay the fingers down, soften through the wrists, elbows, and forearms. Take at least 1 full breath in stillness before we move on. On your next inhale, inhale the arms up to chest height. Palms face the front. Exhale, pull the elbows down out wide, stretching across the chest, palms still facing front. Inhale, reach it high. Exhale, pull it down, stretch across the chest. Inhales take you up. Exhales, pull those elbows wide. You can choose your intensity level. You can keep it passive, just inhaling and reaching, exhaling and pulling. Or on your inhale, you can reach a little higher, like someone's pulling those fingers. It'll stretch the backs of the shoulders a little bit more. And when you exhale, pulling down, you can pull between those shoulder blades a little more. There'll be a micro lift in the chest, deepening that stretch. 3 more full cycles after the cycle you're in. You choose your intensity. Work through the shoulders and the front of the chest, deepening these stretches, gaining that mobility through the shoulder joints. Breath comes into the belly on the inhale, presses out on the exhale. At the end of your 3rd cycle, inhale the fingers to the ceiling. Exhale, float the palms back down to the mat. Soften through the elbows and arms, taking your breaths. Soft between the eyes, across the forehead, releasing the jaw. 1 more breath. Gently reaching out to find your strap, looking if necessary, and gentling back down, making any adjustments as needed. Opening your strap, belt, nylons, leggings, or maybe just even taking the arms into position without a prop at all. Check in with the lower body. Move through any positions for comfort as you choose. Take a grip on your strap or in the air in an upside down V position. If you are using a strap or a modified strap of any kind, keep your grip gentle. And know that you can slide along your strap at any time as you find openness or tightness through your shoulders. Moving into our breath. Inhale up to chest height. Exhale, drop it back behind. Deepening that stretch from the beginning. Inhaling back to chest. Exhale, lowering back to the lap. Once again, finding that flow. Inhaling up. Exhaling back any amount. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Your inhales will always take you to the chest. And the exhales will be lowering back behind or down to the lap as you find your flow. Once again, there's no right or wrong here. There's just moving with your breath, moving with your shoulder, noticing differences from side to side, modifying as necessary. Once again, take that awareness back. Is it opening up and back? Are you deepening? Or is there tenderness or tightness that you have to stop a little sooner? Just honoring those spaces. Complete the cycle you're in. 3 more full cycles. And the cycles begin and end at the lap. Flowing with that breath. Slow and controlled. When you come to the close of your 3rd cycle, taking your time to get there, there's no rush. Releasing the strap first. Just let the strap lay there. Unhook the hands, let the palms rest. Take your breaths in stillness before we worry about moving the strap. If the elbows feel heavy, if the fingers feel a little tingly from holding that strap, you can add that drumming. Again, lifting the fingers and then slowly lowering. Pinkies, ring fingers, middle fingers, pointer fingers. And just do that a few times if it's comfortable and feels good to you. If you do choose that option, lay your fingers down, soften through the hands and wrists. Take at least 1 full breath in stillness before we move on. Gently taking your strap or modified strap and setting it off to the side if you used one. Bringing your hands down to the outside the hip area. Arms are long along the sides. If you've chosen a soles of the feet position here, go ahead and release the legs down long. We're going to begin to come up in a moment. We're going to come up with slow control, like everything we do in this class. So press your hands into the mat, get a little activity in your arms. Pull your belly button in and up, which will support the low back. Take a nice big inhale and exhale, come up slowly with control. Chin comes to chest, press through the hands, use the abs, come up to seated. Don't worry if your pillow rolls down behind you. Gently tuck your toes to the ceiling. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. Clasp the fingertips, flip the palms, press the knuckles up to the ceiling, just stretch it out. Don't worry about the shoulders right at the moment. Press through the sits bones. Feel the length in your spine coming from the base of your sits bones all the way up to your knuckles. Press those knuckles high. Low ribs are tucked in, so we're not bending back at this point. That spine tall. Now pull between the shoulder blades and down the back to drop the shoulders from the ears. Feel that difference. Spine is still lengthened, arms are still long, knuckles are still pressing up, stretching out, but the shoulders are down away from the ear party. Inhale the knuckles at center and then just exhale, gently stretch it to your right, stretching down your left side, find some breath. As you're ready, inhale it back to center and exhale, stretch it out to the left, stretch down that right side. Just gentle movement as we come up to seated. On your next inhale, come back to center, press it a little bit higher, getting that lift from the sits bones through the knuckles, and then exhale, float it down. Very good. I'm going to turn to face you now. You can take any props and set them out of the way for the moment as we set up for the last of the shoulder openers. So from here, you can choose to sit in any comfortable position. I have to watch for my bolster here. So comfortable position, it can be cross-legged, it can be soles of the feet together, it can be legs out long. You can go ahead and take your bolster and sit up on it if that's more comfortable. I'm actually going to sit on a blanket today. So you can do anything that feels good because we're going to be working with the arms a little bit more here. So you can set your blanket down if you choose, or anything underneath of your seat, and then find some comfort. I just have to not hit my bolster. So if you are by your bolster, just come forward or backward of it. We'll move it in a moment. So coming into your comfortable seat, press through those sits bones to feel the chest lift, shoulders drop back and down, spine is tall, like somebody's pulling a string from the crown of your head to the ceiling. Hands are down to the sides. Begin to move through the shoulder joints. Inhale, reaching it out and up. Exhale, pull down between the shoulders, elbows go wide, goalpost arms. Inhale, reach it out, palms to the ceiling. Exhale, squeeze a ball into center. Again, inhale and reach. Exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze. Choosing your intensity. You can inhale, reaching out and up like someone's pulling the fingertips. Exhale, pulling down like there's a weight bar. Inhale, reaching out like someone's pulling your fingertips. And exhale like you're squeezing that ball in the center. It's your choice. Or you can just inhale, keeping everything soft. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more this direction. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull it down. Inhale, reach it out. Exhale, squeeze it in. Moving the movement slightly. Inhale, forward and up, like the beginning of sun salute. Everything else is the same. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Again. Inhale, like a reverse dive. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, choosing your intensity. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Press your palms, close your eyes down. Soften through your shoulders. Pressing through those sits bones, feel that length through your spine, taking your breaths in stillness seated this time. Filling your lungs and your belly on your inhale. Pressing it out on the exhale, softening through the feet, the knees, the hips, the shoulders. Taking a moment to feel what that feels like in your body. Spine fully lifted and straight. String pulling from the crown of your head, then softening through the legs and the shoulders and the face. One more breath here. Gently opening your eyes. Everyone coming to a soles of the feet position if you're not there already. Once again, staying on blankets or props if needed. Even if you're up on a bolster, it doesn't matter. Soles of the feet together. Hands down to the sides. Inhale, reach it out and up. Gentle gaze, control the neck. Exhale, turn to your right. Your left hand is going to come to your right knee. Your right hand is going to float back behind your right hip, opening your right shoulder to the back of the room. Now, if your bolster is still behind you, you might have to wiggle those fingers down between your seat and the bolster or just to the outside. The hands are down as just a little kickstand to help keep the spine tall. Full deep breaths. Dropping those shoulders on the exhale, keeping the face soft. And if you've ended up on the opposite side, don't worry about it. We're going to go and keep it balanced. This is one that when you're trying to watch someone else do it, many times we end up on the opposite side. It's okay. As long as your hand is across your body, the front hand is across your body on the opposite knee, and the side that you're opening to has the arm down behind it, and you're softening on your exhales, you're good to go. Two more breaths here. Softening on those exhales, possibly deepening. You can use that hand on the knee. If the spine is allowing, you can open a little deeper. Never to the point of pain. If that's too much, don't do it. Coming out slowly. Gently unwinding, reaching out and up with your inhale. Control your head and neck. Exhale, other side. Right hand, left knee. Left hand floats down behind, working around props that might be in the way. Open that left shoulder to the back of the room. Soften through the shoulders on the exhales. Find your breath. It's a little different, breathing in a twist. Soften through your jaw. Let the shoulders drop on the exhales. Two more breaths here. Pressing through those sits bones, lengthening tall on the inhale. Exhale, possibly twisting a little deeper. Very slow, controlled movements. Coming out slowly, gently begin to unwind while coming back to the front. Inhaling, reaching it out and up. Gentle gaze, shoulders are down. Exhale, hinge from the hips, lead with the chest. Come forward and down. Find your edge. Float your hands down. Let your chin tuck. Full deep breaths. As you settle into your stretch, if this is your edge, maintain your edge and breathe. Your breath is your biggest guide to where your intensity level is at. If your breath is flowing, you're in that space. If your breath is holding and hitching, you've gone too far and you need to back out slightly, finding that space for yourself. If you choose to deepen, you can inhale the chest out a little bit further, and then exhale, walking the chest and the fingertips out a little further, sinking down. Taking care to make sure that this motion is coming out from the hips with the chest leading towards the feet, not by the hands walking out and the shoulders dragging up. So bringing that back. One more breath. Pressing into the hands. Inhale into a half lift. Exhale. Walk it back. Come up to seated. Take your hands to the outsides of your knees. Help them up. That hip opener can get a little intense. Lay it down. Give it a little shake out. I'm going to turn back around. Before we move into our cat-cows, taking your blanket, sheet, anything, towels will work. Feel free to push pause if you need to. Rolling it up into that hot dog. My hot dog got a little wonky. I'm going to do a re-roll. Taking that back under your knees. Choose your distance. Your knees can be close together or further out. It's your choice. Toes gently tucked to the ceiling. Press into those sits bones. Give a little wiggle. Find them, feel them down there underneath of you. Press into those sits bones to find that length in the spine. Keep the belly pulled in. Chest is lifted. Shoulders drop. Hands to the sides. Inhale. Reach it out and up. Palms face each other. Fingertips reach high. Finding your breath. Feel that lift. Once again, pull between the shoulders and down the back to drop the shoulders from the ears. Flow your breath. One more. Inhaling, reaching it a little higher, not with the shoulders. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Lead with the chest towards the thighs. Find your edge. Float it down. Let your chin tuck. It does not matter how far you go here. As long as you're feeling it down the back of your hamstrings and the back of your calves, you're in the right place. So whether you're here, whether you're here, whether you're here, it doesn't matter. Getting that stretched out is all that matters. Let your chin rest towards your chest so you're not holding the back of your neck. I know that's going to be one of the challenges as we move through this online format, is seeing what's happening on the screen. So always take that moment to see what's happening and then settle back into your pose, softening back down. Especially in this class, my verbal cues are pretty constant. So once you have it, you'll be able to flow through it pretty regularly and kind of know what's coming. As you're settling into this stretch, if you'd like to deepen, you can inhale the chest down the thighs a little bit further. It's a very tiny movement. And exhale, sink the chest down, walking the fingertips out. Once again, making sure that's coming out from the hips and the length through the spine, not by just walking the shoulders up to the ears. This does not do anything to help your stretch. It just tightens everything we're trying to relax. So pull that back. Let's add a gentle, controlled nod, yes, chin to chest. We're releasing it out just about to the edge of the toes. Keep those toes to the ceiling. And then back to center. And then a gentle no, taking the chin towards one shoulder. And then back through center towards the other. Slow and controlled, just stretching that neck out. Back to center. 2 more breaths, deepening as you choose. Keeping those toes to the ceiling. The reason for the toes to the ceiling is to keep it down the back of the legs. Now you're welcome to play with that. Soften the toes and then bring them back to the ceiling. You'll feel the difference in the calves. And that's the reason for the cue. Inhale when you're ready. Exhale, now draw those toes back towards your head, face area, taking that stretch down the back of the heel and the Achilles. 1 breath there. And then soften those toes, press into the hands. Inhale the torso, half lift up, walk the hands back up, and take the little prop off to the side. We'll come back to it later. Now, we're going to move our bolster out of the way. So setting things off to the side, keep the bolster close. We're going to keep using this. This is going to be used in what we call a bolster balasana, just child's pose with the bolster. So keep, if it's a bolster, a pillow, a blanket, whatever you're using for lift, keep it close by. Everything else can kind of just go off to the side for later. We'll use it towards the end. So coming to hands and knees, however you get there. Now, we're not on the padded studio floor. So those of you who have hardwood floors or are working maybe outside, even in the backyard, feel free to put something under your knees. I have wood floors here, so I'm going to go with a little bit of cushion. Knees under hips, tops of the feet down, wrists under shoulders, fingers spread wide, middle fingers pointing to the front of the room, front of whatever your room is. Middle fingers pointing directly front. So sometimes you see, like, we'll want to say that this is front, where it kind of kicks out to the sides. Middle fingers straight forward to the front of the room. It's much easier in the wrists. Pressing through your hands, you have equal pressure between the heels of your hands, the knuckles, the fingertips, the webbing between the thumb and forefinger, and the outside edge under the pinky. So a full flat press. Flat back, tops of the feet down. Inhale, drop the belly, tip the hips, lift the chest, lift the chin. This is cow. Exhale, press the floor away, arch your back, press those shoulder blades to the ceiling, into cat. Inhale, drop, tilt, lift. Exhale, press, arch, and round. Tuck the tail, tuck the chin, exaggerate the movement. Inhaling into your cow and exhaling into your cat. Finding your flow. 3 more cycles. Eyes opened or closed is up to you. Move with your breath. Let your inhales take you into your cow. Your exhales pressing into your cat. Full pressure in your hands for both movements. Like you're pressing the floor away, letting that articulation move just through your spine. Keep the face soft. released through the jaw. When you come to the close of your third cycle, return to a neutral spine. Take your knees wide. Bring your big toes to touch. If you are not using a bolster or a pillow or a blanket, you can feel free to settle from here into a child's pose by inhaling and exhaling, pressing your hips back, lowering your forehead down to the mat. That is Balasana, child's pose. For those working with the bolster, take an inhale, exhale, walk your hips back over your heels, come up to seated for a moment. Take your bolster, set it between your wide knees, keeping your hips back as far as is comfortable for your body. What we're trying to not have happen is this, unless that is what your hips have to do. But you want to keep them as far back as works for your body. Then gently lower your torso down to your bolster, blanket, or prop. Take a cheek. Soften through the back of your neck, your shoulders. Choose one cheek to start with. Find your breath. Let your torso melt into your support. If you're in full Balasana, child's pose, let your forehead melt into the mat or the backs of your hands or a block or a blanket. If you are on the bolster, lift your head just enough to switch to the other cheek to keep the neck balanced. Find your breath, soften through your neck and shoulders. 2 more full deep breaths here. Pressing into your palms, inhale. Lift the torso off the bolster and walk your hands up, or inhale to tabletop if you're coming out of a Balasana. Coming back into tabletop. Back into table, resetting your table, knees back under hips, toes curled this time, wrists under shoulders, fingers spread wide. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, press the hips up and back. First down dog. Pedal it out, sway your feet, sway your hips. You can come up and down on your tippy toes. Just take whatever movement feels good in your first down dog. If this is not comfortable, you can stay in your tabletop and breathe through additional cat-cows as a modification. 2 more breaths with movement. Keep your head released. Your gaze should be at your calves or knees. Press that floor away. The hips are working to the upper back corner of the room. Come back to a still. 1 full breath. On your next inhale, come forward and down with the knees wide. Uncurl the toes. Exhale. Settle the hips back. Bring the forehead down to the mat, or you can stack your palms. Take 2 breaths to reset. We're going to move through a Kriya, breath with movement. We'll be moving from child's pose to tabletop to down dog and back again. 1 more breath. As you're ready, inhaling, coming back to table. I'm going to give a brief modification for those that may not choose to do the down dog today. So before we start doing the Kriya, if you do not choose to go up into down dog, as we flow through this, you're going to come from your child's pose. To inhale to your table, you're going to step your right leg back, press through the heel, stretch through the calf. And then you're going to inhale, bring it back in, and settle back through your child's pose. And then inhale, exhale, stepping the left back. That's going to be the modification for the Kriya that we're moving into, moving with breath. Finding your tabletop, regardless of your choice, curl your toes to start. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, press the hips up and back if you're choosing down dog, or step that right leg back and press through the heel. Inhale, come down, uncurl the toes. Exhale, release the hips back. Inhale to table, curl the toes. Exhale, press the hips high or step the left leg back and stretch through the calf. Inhale, table, uncurl the toes. Exhale, settle the hips. Inhale, table, curl the toes. Exhale, hips high or right foot steps back from table. Inhale, coming down, uncurl the toes. Exhale, settle the hips. Inhale, table, curl the toes. Exhale, press the hips high or step the left foot back and press through the heel. Inhale, table, uncurl the toes. Exhale, settle it back. One more. Follow your breath. Inhales will be table. Exhales will be pressing the hips high. Inhale, come down. Exhale, settle the hips. Actually, one more to keep it even for those that are doing the other. Exhale, hips high or that left foot steps back. Inhale, uncurl the toes. Exhale, settle it back. Choices from here. Those that would like to stay in Balasana can stay in Balasana. If you would like your modified bolster Balasana, inhale to table. Exhale, walk your hands up till your hips come back over your heels. Take your bolster, set up your bolster Balasana, gently lower your torso and choose your cheek. Settle it back down. And breathe. If you're on the bolster, gently lift your head just enough to switch to that opposite cheek. Lay it down, soften the neck. 2 more breaths. Press into the palms. If you're in Balasana, you can inhale to table. If you're on your bolster, inhale to lift your torso. Walk your hands back up to seated. Take your bolster, set it off to the side, removing any props. Coming back to your table, using the table as transition to swing your feet to the side. Settle your hips back, coming back to seated. We're setting up our bolsters for the end of class. You can choose to lay flat if you'd like. If you're going to use your bolster or blanket or pillow ramp of any kind, begin to set it up. Do not roll back onto it yet. We're not quite there just yet. But you can go ahead and begin to set that up. Keeping your bone pillow or a rolled up towel or blanket close by. If for any reason you're starting to feel a little bit chilly, maybe you're practicing at night, feel free to keep blankets close by and cover up at any time. Before we roll back completely, coming to a seated position, heel toe your feet out to the edges of your mat. Place your hands down just outside the backs of your hips. Press into your hands so your chest lifts. Inhale, center, and exhale, just rock the knees, windshield over to the right. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Just getting a little movement through the hips before we go back. Inhale, exhale. You're going to booty wiggle forward, that's okay. Inhale, exhale, and come back to center. Heel toeing the feet back together, moving those hips back again. Just trying to stay as close as you can. You may have to adjust again, that's okay. Soles of the feet to the mat, feet about hips distance apart. Remember that sideways fist between the feet. Hands behind the thighs. We're doing a couple modified cat-cow backs to lay us down. Inhale, reach it forward, draw it forward, head goes back, shoulders drop. Exhale, round it back, pull, press between those shoulders and pull the shoulders forward. Inhale, lift, drop those shoulders. Exhale, curl it all in. Your low back's going to press into your ramp. If it's there, don't worry about that. Inhale, lift. This is an excellent modification to practice dropping those shoulders. And exhale, curl it in. Last one, this one's going to take us down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, roll it back down gently. And then taking whatever you're using under your neck, setting it up. Taking a few breaths before we close out into Shavasana. So coming into a comfortable position, let's go soles of the feet together, knees wide, bringing the hands to the belly. So making a kind of wide diamond with the hands, laying them on the belly where the fingers spread on the low belly and the thumbs are above the belly button. Just gently feeling your belly rise on your inhale and fall on your exhale. Taking a few deep breaths here before we settle into Shavasana. Belly rises into the hands on the inhale, feeling that breath move. And exhale, pressing it out. 3 more. Making these final breaths of your class some of the deepest, most aware breaths of your practice today. Possibly setting any intention you have for the time ahead. And always expressing gratitude to yourself for showing up for your self-care. It's more important now than ever. After your last breath, beginning to set up for Shavasana, taking the legs out long, feeling free to set up with any props if you need to come up and set anything up under your knees. Lately I've been liking a bolster under my legs. Finding your comfortable space. Laying it back and down. Arms come to that upside down V with the backs of the hands to the mat if it's comfortable through the shoulders, or flipping the palms to the mat if that's more comfortable. To begin to prepare for Shavasana, closing the eyes down, tighten all the muscles of the feet, legs, hips, and glutes, and release them. Tighten all the muscles of the torso, the abs, the chest, the back, and release them. Tighten all the muscles of the hands, arms, and shoulders, and release them. Tighten the muscles of the face. Clench the jaw, squint the eyes, purse the lips, and release them. Soften through the face, between the eyes, across the forehead, releasing the jaw. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Feel yourself soft, supported on your mat, and settling in for your Shavasana. to deepen your breath, inviting your awareness back to your room, bringing gentle movement to your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. If it feels comfortable to you, reaching out overhead, stretching out long, and then releasing the arms back down, drawing the knees in, moving any props as needed. Curling into a little ball either on or off your bolster, or you can rock the knees gently from side to side, and then find some stillness. As you feel ready, use your hands to help you. Come back up to a comfortable seated position. Hands at heart center, eyes closed down, and I'll close with our mantra. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Harihi Om Akanda Mandalakaram Vyatam Ena Chara Charam Tatparam Darshitam Ena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide your practice today. We seal our practice with a bow. Namaste. Be well, be safe, and I can't wait till we can see each other again.